Blown the fuck out. Chapter 2. Momentum. Tekken is a momentum-based game, but what does that statement actually mean? What is momentum, and how can I manipulate it to win? Today, we will look at the concept of momentum, frame data, and the wake-up game. Momentum describes a few things, the first of which is positioning. When you hit an opponent, they move back slightly, obviously. Most of the time, this is done on block as well. This is called pushback. The more you're hit and or blocking, the more you're pushed towards the wall. On walled stages at least. We'll get to infinite stages later. As you move closer to the wall, your defensive options diminish. You can no longer backdash to escape pressure, or to create opportunities to whiff punish. Your sidestep is hindered, and cannot be used to deal with moves that require a sidestep to avoid. Moves that would otherwise knock you down will now wall splat you, and are thus more dangerous. Making space and utilizing movement is the mark of a good Tekken player, and arguably the most powerful tool in the game. When this is taken away from you, you are forced to respect your opponent's offense, and to play a safer, more patient form of the game. Thus, when at the wall, you have little to no momentum, and are in jeopardy of losing the round, regardless of what the life bar says. Tekken is not a forgiving game, and making a mistake with your back to the wall is a very quick way of having your life bar drained faster than me losing my $20 entry fee in a tournament pool. Damn, that's like grocery money. I'm never getting that back. Fuck. Alright, the point is, don't fuck up near the wall, or you're gonna get murked. Obviously, you'll need to use this to your advantage. In practice mode, you can optimize combos for wall carry on appropriate stages such that it will become muscle memory, second to your bread and butter combos, of course. This will help you keep momentum in your favor, as you'll be carrying opponents to the wall much more often when you launch them. You can also practice the spacing for moves that leave a lot of pushback on block, for when you want to force your opponent to lose ground. If you can force your opponent to shallow block these high pushback moves, they become even safer 90% of the time. Alright, so that covers the first aspect of momentum. On to the second, and that's wake-up situations. This is also known as okizeme, or oki for short. It's Japanese for wake-up game. In the case of being knocked down, your opponent standing over you has the advantage, and thus the momentum is in their favor. If you want to get up and try to attack, you'll have to go through that entire fucking animation. This means that their moves will come out first, so they have frame advantage on their side. We'll get more in depth into frame advantage later. Attacking while on the ground is risky. All of the attacks are unsafe. Thus, not only could you possibly sustain damage as a punish, but your opponent might be able to loop the entire situation over again, leaving you with less health than you had before while still in danger, which really fucking sucks, so don't default to it. Some characters specialize in creating situations like this, and will quickly bleed your health dry if left unchecked. Kazuya is one of these characters. Kazuya has a 50-50 between a hell sweep and a mid launcher. If you get up, you cannot step in time to avoid either of these options, so you are forced to guess. Reducing your odds to a 50-50 guess between two defensive options is never an ideal situation. The odds are not in your favor. In order to defend against this, you can roll, but you might be caught out by a demon steel pedal kick. You can also attack, but this leaves you vulnerable to the aforementioned risks. Being on the ground is not fun for the defender. Familiarize yourself with your opponent's habits and react accordingly. Do they keep doing lows? Wake up and block low. Can you roll out of the way safely? Then fucking do it. What about rolling backwards? Sure. Need a quick attack? Toe kick them. Did they just whiff? Kick them in the mouth or the feet if that's your fetish. Just be sure to mix up your options while you're on the ground. Some characters even have unique options. Use everything at your disposal to adapt and overcome. To take advantage of okizeme, learn what moves your character has in order to get guaranteed damage out of a knockdown, or to put your opponent into a true 50-50, or possibly a situation that sets up another knockdown. If you can do all three, then, you know, good shit, my dude. You got this okizeme shit on lock. Good stuff. Well done. In regards to momentum and infinite stages, however, all of these concepts will still apply, save positioning. Spacing of moves is still an important fundamental skill, but you will not be penalized for backdashing as much, so get that life lead and pedal backwards all you'd like. The third form of momentum comes as frame data. Without getting into the nitty-gritty boring details of how frame data works in regards to setup, recovery, and active frame, nobody gives a shit. Frame data dictates how fast a move comes out. The property will change depending on whether or not the move hits, whiffs, or is blocked. Unsafe or massively negative moves put the momentum back into the hands of the defending player, provided that the player is knowledgeable about the matchup and aware that that move is unsafe. You can test your opponent's knowledge early game by putting out negative moves and seeing if your opponent takes their turn, or how they respond. If they don't know a move is punishable, abuse it. Some moves are actually advantageous on block, and favor the attacker, allowing them to act faster than their opponent can at a block stun. This system is the basis of offense in most fighting games. It's the fundamental reason as to why you shouldn't press buttons after being hit. Because, you know, you'll react slower after you get punched in the mouth. Who would've fucking thought? But remember, attacks don't need to either hit or be blocked. They can whiff. Tekken is unique because there are various ways to shift momentum and score damage. Through movement, you can avoid most advantageous or plus on block moves. You can also use movement to discourage opponents from retaliating with moves that do not track sidestepping, like jabs, and creating openings that wouldn't otherwise be possible. This allows you to shift momentum at a moment's notice, but be cautious and step with intent. All characters have moves specifically designed to catch people who sidestep. Do not make your movement obvious. There is also the crush system, which allows you to be invincible to either a high or low while performing an attack. You can use this to avoid high retaliation, or to go over dick jab defense, because no one likes being punched in the nads, or the taco? I don't know. For more information in regards to the crush system, check out Blasted Salami's video, link in the description. Lastly, and possibly most importantly, there's mental momentum. It comes in a lot of forms, but for the most part this is referred to as being tilted. It doesn't necessarily mean you're upset or angry, but you're off in a way. This can be triggered by a variety of things, such as your opponent guessing right on all of your mix-ups, but you failing every single one of his. It's about throwing off your opponent's rhythm. First to 5 scenario. If they win the first 4 matches, you'll likely feel tilted, or that you have no hope of winning. You'll start thinking negative thoughts, like, you just got your ass handed to you 4 times in a fucking row. What is the point of continuing? To combat this, you need to have strong resolve. There isn't much else to it. Approach Tekken with the mindset of getting better, and the victory is a result of that, not the goal. To use this kind of momentum to your advantage, there isn't much I can teach you. It's about confidence and reads. You need to confidently and accurately gauge the experience of your opponent and convince themselves that you are certain that you can beat him. This isn't something that can be learned in a YouTube video. Only experience and practice will grant you this feeling.